Okay, what's up, YouTube? I'm Lo,
And I'm Emma,
and you've reached
the
Book
girls
Girls
on
on
the
the
internet.
Internet. I just remembered I haven't really checked how the Zoom thing looks like. Ugh, I need to post these darn videos. This month I'm gonna post everything I have.
I like it.
Okay, so today we are talking about Nightbitch by Rachel Yoder. I hope I said that right. It's a book about a young mother or a first time mom. I don't know if she's young, who is staying at home and basically dealing with motherhood. And her situation is that her husband actually travels Monday to Friday for work. So it's literally her and her baby the whole time. It is in third person, but the main character is the mother, and the reader is very much in touch with the mother's internal life. Okay, so before I say what I think, Emma, what did you think? I know you had a hard time getting into it.
I had a very hard time getting into it. I think I texted you like 3 times. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to finish it this weekend. Yeah, I'm going to finish it. Yeah, I'm going to start it. And like, it was, I think the first third, it was tough for me to like sink my teeth into and get pulled in. Then, because I refused to DNF, I have a very short list
I
of books
just
that
might DNF something I'm reading right now.
we are different people. My DNF list is like fewer than 5 books, I think, in my entire life. So I have to really dislike something to DNF it. But sometimes I'll
Honestly,
take a million years to read it if I'm.
honestly, that's a flex.
So I was like, no, I'm committed. I'm reading this. So I forced myself. One day I was like, okay, let's do it. You know what was the TSN turning point was I figured out how to get it onto my Kindle. Um, and then I was like, all right, baby, let's go.
Ad, sponsor us.
I fucking wish. Okay, so I got onto my Kindle and I was like, we're doing this, Emma, let's go. And so I forced myself to like sit down and read it and like kind of just hack off chunks of it. And I got into it. So I did, I really struggled for the first third. And then it still was never a book where I was like, oh my God, I can't put it down. I could easily put it down. But I got more engaged as it went on and I enjoyed it more. I think part of what I had trouble with at the beginning was first you're like, what the fuck is going on? You're like, is she turning into a dog? Is she not? Is this in her head? Is this like, are these physical changes actually
Till
happening?
the end, I'm like, was she physically turning into a dog, or was she like
Was it just that one night?
gallivanting naked? Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, is she? Yeah.
And I think the husband stuff kind of irritated me because it was too, so not just he was obviously irritating, but it was too like a little too in my face of like, see, he's a shitty husband, but he's like masquerading as a nice guy and whatever. And it's like, okay, we
Okay.
get it. Like I get it. I get it.
Okay.
And I did think like that bugged me at the beginning. I did think at the end she acknowledged that really well through the narration from the Nightbitch.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning it bugged me. It just really bugged me.
Okay.
Now, I have more to say, but that's my first pass at it. What did you think?
Um, I thought it was very interesting. And I think that stems from just my general interest of like exploring female angst or anger, but also motherhood. And I think those two together, like anger and motherhood, like together, was so interesting. It was like the worst about motherhood is like this story, you know? You're like,
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to interrupt. I need to interrupt because this
go
this
ahead.
one of my notes, because I was reading some reviews after, and the New Yorker did a review,
Okay.
and they said, I wish I'd written down the headline. I didn't, but basically they said the same thing. Like it's all about motherhood and like this thing, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to me, I'm like, yes, motherhood was a big part of it, but it was more about womanhood. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
just about her relationship as a mother, although that is a huge theme through it, but it's also about her relationship with her art and transitioning from being this like independent woman who was on top of her game, but then
Yeah.
because of these reasons, it made more sense for her husband to keep working and her to be the stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like all of these things are just like, yes, motherhood, motherhood, motherhood. But I'm like, it's not just that. It's not, and
But the reflection, and yeah, you're right. I didn't mean to oversimplify, but the reflection onto all these other aspects of her life, whether it's her work, her marriage, her friendships or lack thereof, was all catalyzed by this like motherhood thing that like literally bombed the entire like her entire life basically.
but do you think her turning into the night bitch was just a motherhood thing?
I think it, yes. Wait, why not?
To me, it was more about like I think maybe one of the catalysts was her struggling with her relationship with her son and her relationship with her husband and feeling disconnected to her work. She keeps trying to be like, I'm going to get back into my art, but she doesn't have time or she doesn't have energy.
So she turns
But
into a
like,
beast.
yeah, but that, I guess I didn't read it as it was just a motherhood thing.
Okay, I think
That could just be my
no,
interpretation.
I think it's definitely open to interpretation. But yes, okay, like it's a very fairy tale-ish style book. So like I felt like there was a lot of symbolism. If I was to explain the symbol of her turning into a dog, which to me I just read it as a beast, like she was turning into a beast, is that in order to be a good mother, she had to fully dissociate from her human side, who or human or full like cognizant, intelligent being who wanted to achieve, who wanted to create art and do things that were not so essential, such as mothering and nurturing. So she had to basically literally lean into her animal side to cope with the demands of motherhood.
Okay, so I agree with what you said at the end. I disagree with what you said at the beginning. So I
Okay.
agree with the coping. This is fun because we usually are like really
Yeah.
on. So I agree with the coping part,
Hmm.
but you started that saying she had to turn into a beast to become a good mother. And I would argue she was a good mother before.
Yeah,
She didn't
she,
have passion
yes.
for it. She didn't have like she had her own like
She would,
internal struggles with it, but
yeah.
to like out like to her relationship with her son, she was loving, she was caring, she was a good mother by all kind of checks and
Yeah.
balances. Becoming this beast, she became an incredible mother. Like the bond that they then
Yeah. But
had
I
through
think
the
in the
like,
sense, you're right. I worded it wrong. I think the bestial side was it was for the mothering itself to fulfill her. Whereas
yeah,
when
like
she's
tapping
not
into.
yeah, when she's not a dog, literally, it does not fulfill her. And I would almost say like the mothering was akin to psychological pain. Like it was struggle. And like that's why she had those feral urges. Spoiler alert, she kills the cat.
That scene
What?
was
I was reading this and I was like, what is this?
shocking. I
Yeah.
almost texted you like right after the thing where like she doesn't just kill the cat, like she
She snapped
guts the
it like
cat.
this, like
She
literally.
guts the cat with a
Yeah.
kitchen knife and then shakes it like a dog. And she
Yeah.
describes like the internal organs like coming, spilling out and blood splattering on all over her kitchen. Her son walking in and seeing the aftermath. Like that scene was so jarring.
It was so crazy. Um, yes. But it was it was a fun read, I will say. Like it was interesting. I liked there were so many passages where it was just like so much frustration and I was like, damn, it's out there, like this is fun.
Yeah.
Um, but it was definitely on the bizarre side. Um,
Super bizarre.
the MLM segments were killing me. I was just like,
Oh, she's like, oh, you're so boho. I'm like, oh my God.
I was like, this feels like a spoof TV show.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I liked it. I would be open to read this author's, and I thought it was well written. Like it was
That's very
weird,
well written.
yeah, but the language was great.
Yeah.
So I would recommend it for sure, and I would say it's Book Girls approved.
Did you notice that she never had a name?
I did the whole
But
time.
in the
We only know her
letters,
initials, MM.
M. Yeah. And I was like, is that ever going to be explained? And the answer is no.
No, none of them have a name except for those three friends from the MLM situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the author of that book that she uses as reference.
Wanda, what's her name?
Yeah,
W.
Wanda White. Yeah. I thought it was interesting that she signs as MM and Wanda White is WW, so it's like a flip.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
just like, there's a mirror effect here somewhere that I'm not understanding.
It was definitely one of those books where you're like, there's so much symbolism that I'm not picking up on.
Mhm.
But you could read it again and be like, oh, yeah, okay, okay. Or read a
Yeah.
review by a really smart person and be like, oh,
Yeah.
yes.
The book was definitely giving like AP English class. Like
Yeah.
it was just like a lot.
Yeah. It's like,
Um,
write an essay about this book. There's
yeah,
so much to choose
there's a
from.
lot. But yeah, I think that's it. Honestly, I really liked it.
I liked it. Would I recommend it to people? Maybe. It depends
Yeah.
on the person. It would be a tricky one to recommend. It wouldn't be an average reader recommend, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I would recommend it to someone who knows me because otherwise the person would be like, WTF?
I'm like, thanks so much. I'm not taking any more recommendations from you. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand.
I'm gonna record.
Me too.
Okay, so this is our section where we talk about a book that we read recently that we liked. You go first.
Okay. In a controversial pick, it is a male author, but I know, I know, I know. The book is called Less by Andrew Sean Greer. Uh,
Oh, this has been on my uh list for a
your
while.
TBR. Okay. I forget how it got on my list, um, but I finally got it from the library, and it was a bit of a slow start. Maybe I just have not been in a good mood for reading. I'm like, things need to like immediately grab me or not. But then I just fell in love with this book. So it's a novel about this author, Arthur Less, who he's gay, he's about to turn 50, and the like one that got away, the love of his life that they're not together anymore, is about to get married. So he decides to go on this like multi country trip. Um, Basically, he decides to accept all the like offers that come to him. So like, come be a guest speaker at here. You're nominated for an award here, and he ends up going to like Mexico and Italy and Germany and like this weird little piece like Japan, I think, like all over the world basically. And it's just his I don't know, it's just like really beautifully written, this journey about like aging and love and um like I don't know, some philosophical musings. But I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it, and I was just googling it now as we were reconnecting.
The series.
Um yeah, I think there's a sequel. Um and like it won like a Pulitzer Prize. Like I think it was very well regarded.
Also,
Um
it was not on my TBR, but it's just that it was in like I had seen it somewhere that it
mm,
was well received. Oh, it
so
sounds beautiful. Honestly, I might as
it
well
was.
officially add it to my list.
Okay. I like it. All right, what was yours?
Mine was essays. Duh. Uh, okay, listen. This book is called Black Friend by Z-Way. Do you know who Z-Way is?
Yes, I know who Ziwei is.
Okay, she's an icon for those who don't know. Um, so This book I had pre-ordered when I first heard that Zia was releasing a book, and I was like, no way, I'm getting on this pre-order flex. So it came in the mail, and I was like, oh my god, it's Zia's book. So I finished Nightbitch, and I read Ziwe right away in that weekend. Which since then, honestly, just haven't gotten into my current book, so I'm gonna need a chase. But anyways, so Black Friend is a collection of essays by Ziwe, who's a TV personality at this point. She's a comedian, she's a writer, um, and it's just hilarious. It's really
It's
funny.
a very dry sense of humor.
Yeah, she but this is, I think, her first piece of work where she actually gets personal. So you get to learn a bit more of, her upbringing and like um, how she ended up in like private school, like through a scholarship, and like she's I believe she's a first generation immigrant from Nigeria, and it's just it was good. It was a good balance of like my humor is like chaotic and awkward, and but also like here is what I really think about some issues, and here are some things that I don't actually have an opinion about. And she has a really interesting use of footnotes. Like there's a lot of footnotes, and some of them are jokes and some of them are like serious, like, you know, additional pieces of information. It was very fun to read. And also to just like get to know her like in a different light, because I've only ever known her as like an interviewer. And yeah, like Z-Way that we see on TV is a persona. Like it's not the Z-Way like if you were her friend, you know? So it was fun. I felt like she was definitely, quote, giving back to her fan base, which I'm sure she would have a lot to say about. Like, celebs don't owe anything to fans or whatever, but yes, they do. Okay. um, yeah, it was really interesting, and I hope she writes more. Honestly, I really liked like engaging with her in that light, like on paper, because I had only ever seen her on the internet or on her TV show on Showtime. So it was great. I recommend.
Cool. I just put it on my list.
It's fun. It's an easy read too. Um, okay. I think this is it for us. So thank you. No, if you like our videos, please subscribe.